Hey, happy Sunday. The last Sunday of October, October 29, and my Squint podcast. Today I want to just make a brief one, I think, on Mark chapter 4. I was reading this morning. I thought I'd just comment on it. In Mark chapter 4, Jesus is sharing about kingdom life, and he talks about the parable of the sower. And that's an interesting parable right there. The sower goes out and sows seeds, and it lands in 4 different places. It lands, let's see. It lands on a path where people are walking and it's busy. It falls on a rocky place, hard, no soil. The sun scorched it. It fell among thorns, got choked out, and then it found good soil. And I always like this parable. One of the things I think about it when I think about this parable is that the sower of the seed is like planting the gospel. Okay, we're sharing our faith in Christ. And did you know we have a 25% success rate, meaning that the 4 seeds hit 4 different soil types. 3 out of 4 didn't go. 1 out of 4 went and was good. So just a little thought there is don't get discouraged about sharing your faith with people, because Jesus shares that it has about a 25% success rate, if you want to call it that. Then he talks about a lamp on a stand, and it's all about shining our light for Christ and not hiding it under a bowl, but putting our light out there for Christ so others can see it. But then I like what he says here in Mark 4, verses 24. He says, "Consider carefully what you hear," he continued. "With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." And then he goes on to talk about the parable of the growing seed, how seeds that's planted will grow, will produce all by itself. You just got to plant it. He talks about the parable of the mustard seed, in which he's describing a person's faith. And then he talks about where he's with the disciples and he calms the storm, and he marvels of their lack of faith. But I want to go back to Mark 4:24. This is my thought for today. He says, "Consider carefully what you hear. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you, and even more. Whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them." So it's the idea that if we're going to plant seed, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So if you want to produce a lot, if you want to get a lot back from God, it's like the sowing and reaping principle. For whatever man, Galatians 6, 7, and 8, for whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap. And so if you want to get a great return, then you need to sow a lot. You need to plant a lot. That's what he says. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you. And I shared with my team this morning at church, our leaders at church before the church service, that there's an old phrase that says, "Go big or go home." So when I plan things in the life of the church, I always plan big. I always think big. We have our At the Movies series right now at church, and I remember, even in fact, earlier this year in our student ministry on Monday nights, we had a movie night. And I had forgot to ask one of the leaders. We weren't clear on who was supposed to bring the popcorn for our students. And so I went out to Wesco and bought the jumbo popcorn for $15. And I left it at the church. I wasn't going to be there that night for our student ministry. And one of the other leaders brought this little small, narrow bag. And they all had a laugh about it because they were comparing the bags. The one leader's little narrow bag and my big jumbo bag. Well, I'm not tapping myself on the shoulder necessarily with pride. I'm just saying with the measure you use. Go big or go home. When it comes to God, I'm going big. When it comes to doing things for God, I'm not going to do things in a small way. I'm going to do them big. Why? Because he says, with the measure you use, it will be measured to you and even more. So I want to do great things for God because I know he's a rewarder and he's going to bless me. And I don't do things just to get blessing back, but that's just a fact of a spiritual life here is with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. So if you want to do great things for God, do great things. Do things upright, do things big, knowing that God then will answer and your return will be big. That wasn't Norman Vincent Peale saying that. That wasn't John Maxwell saying that. That's Jesus saying that. With the measure you use, it will be measured to you and even more. Whoever will be given more, whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. So if you want a great return on your investment, you talk about ROI, return on investment, or EROI, eternal return on investment, then you need to be planting. You need to be planting and you need to be sowing seed and you need to be doing a lot of that in great faith, because with the measure you use, that's the measure that God's going to use to bless you. So there you go. Go big or go home with God. I'm going big. I pray this week you'll go big with God. Have a great week. Share your faith with somebody this week. Make sure you're in church on Sunday. Honor your pastor. And if you don't have a church, come see us at Better Life Church. And we'll help you discover God and know God, find freedom, discover your purpose, and you'll make a difference. Go big or go home. We're going big with God. Have a great week.